Hello and welcome back to Cause Streams TV. I am Cause and I hope you guys are excited as I am because we have a patch 11.2, Ghosts of Karesh. It is officially live and we're going to talk about what we did last week in that pre-season week. My first impressions of Karesh, of the zone, of some of the things that we got to do. And then later on at the end of the video, we will discuss some of the vaults that we have because we did a lot of Mythic Zeros, Delves, and all that stuff on our alts. So let's dive in. First of all, this weird looking thing says hello. I guess that was part of one of the quests that I did somewhere along the way, but let's jump in and talk about my very first impression of Karesh. So the one thing that I noticed the moment I entered the zone, so you don't really get to see the backdrop when you come in, right? And I think that's really, really cool, but you know, you walk into Tazavesh, you start doing all the quests in Tazavesh, you start exploring, you start doing stuff, you start doing the campaign, and then eventually the Ecodome dungeon is right there for you. Tazavesh is there as well. It's not available this week because it has no Mythic Zero. And then from there, you kind of get sent out into the world, into the broken world of Karesh, and it was in that moment when I could hop on my mount and fly out of Tazavesh that I think I realized that this is probably going to be my favorite zone. And someone said it was kind of like a mix of the Burning Crusades Netherstorm area. It kind of looked like that. I think it has that with the Blade's Edge Mountains, some of all those spiky things. And yeah, I know the world is kind of ripped apart, but that, I don't know, just the color scheme, the blues, the purples, and the best thing that I absolutely loved about it is the backdrop. The backdrop of that giant portal, probably my most favorite thing of that entire zone. It's easy to get around, it's easy to do things. The fact that you just hop on and fly right away, you're not stuck going through, like, say, those phase conduits or doing flight paths. So Blizzard learned something there, so that was kind of cool. So my first impression of that zone is, oh my god, this is beautiful. And I have liked traversing, I have liked the quest so far. I've done the full story, the Sojourn of Karesh, that is completely done. I've picked up some of the lore books as well for that extra rep. We did a ton of rep farming. We really did go hard. There was enough to do on my main to kind of get it all done early in the week, get all the world quests done. And then I actually also picked up a contract and went around all of Khazalgar on my main and did the extra world quest with the contract, so that gave you the 15 extra for every world quest that you did in Khazalgar. So our renown at the end of the week was renown 7, and I think that's a good place to be going into the official season 1 release, which would have already taken place when this video goes live. So you'll most likely see me streaming playing the world with it. I may even just watch the release of this video on stream with all you guys. So after my main was done doing all of the things, my warrior is my second alt for splits this season. So I went on my warrior, repeated the process. I'm really glad that you can do the skip to get your Reshi wraps and you can upgrade them right away. So we got that completed on the warrior, and then we also moved into doing the world boss on all of our tanks. So all 6 of our tanks have completed the world boss. I didn't get loot on any of them, so too bad for me, I guess. But I could not believe how long that boss fight was. For my first kill, I think it was like 9 minutes and 50 seconds, reaching that 10-minute mark. Like, it kept amazing me because I'm looking at the lust timer and I'm sitting there going, are we gonna get lust back before this boss dies? So I'm wondering if, like, I know later on in the season we're gonna have more gear, so we're gonna be able to burn the boss down faster, but realistically later in the season you don't need to go back and do the boss. So I'm hoping they do something, because lower level, high level characters were really kind of struggling with that. A 10-minute world boss is really crazy. So we did get that done. We got a bunch of delves done on our characters. Our paladin and our warrior both got 8 delves done, and then on, like, my demon hunter, my mage, and my chamois, I did at least 2. That way we have the vault, but then if I could, I did 4. I believe on my resto sham we did 4 as a healer with tank brawn at 634 eye level. So really excited to open up our vaults later on. And then the other thing we did on our warrior and our paladin is we did all of the mythic zeros. Now there's only 6 mythic dungeons available this week because Tazavesh doesn't have like a split mythic zero dungeon, so we have to run 2 extras, 2 repeats in other words, and got no loot. But we do have all 8 mythic zeros done on our main tank, so I'm super excited to see what those vaults look like as well. And that really did kind of chew up a lot of our time last week, but it was enjoyable. I do really think that going, even the world quests aren't that bad. The one thing that I feel like Blizzard dropped the ball on, and in my opinion learned nothing from Shadowlands, or it's the same crew working on this part of Karesh, is the phase diving. I don't know about you, but the fact that when you go into phase diving, you can't mount, you can't fly, what does that remind you of? What zone did we all dread visiting that you couldn't mount right away. You still can't fly in that zone. And if you guys are guessing the Maw, you are absolutely correct. I feel like the people who worked on the Maw gave us Maw 2.0, but with much brighter colors right now. It is so frustrating that I have to take these conduits to travel around and then run across half a zone to get to a world quest. Why, oh why? And I think I heard somewhere that like eventually you can unlock being able to mount. I don't know if flying is available though. Again, I asked the same question. Why are we not able to mount right away? Blizzard, why are you take so many steps forward and then you take this one step back? It makes no sense whatsoever. Like, what is lost by letting us fly in the phase diving phase? Even letting us mount. Nobody likes running across an entire zone to get to a world quest. The one thing they did do well though is you can right click the buff and get out of the phase diving zone, although you then still have to fly to a conduit, get into the conduit, and run back to wherever you needed to go. So sometimes I just stayed in the phase diving zone and I use the conduits to get around, especially when you're doing the achievement for the books of Karesh. Like, I think it's called Secrets of Karesh. You do that achievement and it actually gives you 4 of the books are in the phase diving zone. So you just stay in that, you go to the different conduits, you run a fairly long distance, you pick up the book, and then you run all the way back to the other side. But yeah, I feel like that's a giant L and stain on this. Like, if they don't fix this soon, it's basically gonna have the reputation of the Maw in my mind, Maw 2.0, and I'm just gonna avoid it. Like, I just don't care in that case. So they took something that was a cool feature that they're adding, and they handicapped it. So I really do hope they'll fix that. One last thing we were working on, I'm still trying to finish the Flame Radiance Rep. I believe I'm up to rank 7 now, and I started really late. I think the last 2 weeks of season 2 is when I started doing Flames Radiance World Quests. The Flames Radiance weeklies, so you get the 1 weekly that gives you a ton of like rep, and then you got the 3 dailies that you can do, like the 3 weekly daily type quests. I don't even know what they are anymore, the blue quests, let's just call them those. And so I've been doing that. Luckily with the Dark Moon Fair buff, we got a ton of extra reps. So I think we're at like rep 7 or 8. So I'm almost done. We get the mount at 9. Finish that off and I don't have to go back to that. So I'm really happy. And then we're going to continue working on Karesh because we do get that augment run at 18. I was hoping to use the contract and fly around and do other quests, but that's not how it turned out for me. Unfortunately, when I logged into the other character, I went around and did world quests. I wasn't getting any of the reps. So either they fixed it so you can't repeat it on multiple characters, or there was some bug. Because some of my characters I'd log in, the contract wasn't even there, even though it says it's warbound. So really confused as to why that happened. So I didn't bother doing the whole like let's fly around on multiple alts and get our rep up as high as we can. So maybe next week, we'll see how it goes. Next week is Mythic week. You know, the release of Mythic Plus and Raid means we're going to be busy doing that. So all in all, I think the release of patch 11.2 that first week was actually great. There was enough to do. You didn't have to go in and play with a ton of alts. You didn't have to do the campaign quest on multiple characters and grind it out. You had the skip, and then you could go around, do the world boss, and do some zeros if you wanted to. It really was a more casual week, and I did appreciate that. I was off on vacation, so I degen just a little bit, did probably more than I needed to, but it felt good to be back. It really did feel good to have some new content in play, so I was really happy with my initial thoughts of that first week. Is that it was a success in my eyes, and it was definitely enjoyable and something that I did like. It gave you that time to explore and do some achievements and just kind of ease into the next week, right? So you're playing your main, but you know, maybe you're getting some gear on alts as well, because of the Mythic Zeros, you get 681 gear. Maybe you're not, you're doing some delves on alts to catch up from last season, right? So it was really, you had a lot of different options that you could do, and I think that's a success for the first week. And because once the Raid and Mythic Plus gets released, that is when everyone's gonna be grinding like crazy to get their eye levels up. So let's jump into the game and see what we got in our vaults. All right, so we are now in the game. All right, so we're gonna jump in and take a look at some vaults. We're doing this video really late. It's actually after our raid on Tuesday, but let's open this up in Prospect and let's see what our warrior gets. All right, okay, we have a champion track shield, huge upgrade. We have a trinket, the warp claw, and then we also have a one-hander. Okay, not bad. Ooh, but we have hero track tier, and legs and shoulders. Oh boy, and a hero track one hander. Oh man, this was a good week. So I don't think I'm gonna think too much about this. We have Ace Mastery Indestructible legs. So we're gonna take those for our first earpiece, and we're gonna have to hang on to it. We can't equip it right away, but that means we now have our hero track legs already done and out of the way. That is amazing. And next up, we're going to take a look at our Vengeance Demon Hunter. I believe I did at least 2 delves on this guy, so we won't have a crazy vault, but he will have a vault. Let's take a look at what that is. We have a Champion Track headpiece, not really much of an upgrade. We have a Stamina Trinket, which probably isn't very good. And then we have Hero Track shoulders. So I think for now, do we take the shoulders and then catalyze it down the road? I think so. Plus, the transmog looks kind of cool. All right, let's grab those shoulders. And that is what the Demon Hunter has. Not bad. Can't complain. All right, next up, we have our Druid opening the vault in Guardian spec. Let's take a look at what they get today. All right, we're looking at a trinket, an agility trinket. Borrows the fates of those around you. It is Champion Track. And then we definitely have to take the tier without question. So that's 2 characters now with tier. My Paladin also has tier. We'll take a look at that. I just can't take it yet. All right, next up, I believe the Death Knight did get a key or something done. Let's take a look at what the Death Knight gets in their vault. I don't think, yeah, they got a piece. It is a Champion Track tier piece, so we will take it because you never know. We can still upgrade it, and it is higher than what we have now. Maybe down the road he needs something. Lots of tier just being handed out so far. Beginning of our vaults. Moving right along, let's take a look at what our monk gets. As you can see, we ran a lot of stuff on the monk. They went up from 650 to 676 really quickly. All right, let's take a look here. So in the delves is where we were getting our tier pieces, and it looks like we have 2 weapons out of our delves today. Huge increases though. We have a Verse Mastery neck piece, which is really nice. We have a Mastery Crit boots. And then we also have a Sack Brood, but it is on the Champion Track. We'll probably get one in Heroic just for farming. So I'm really thinking we should just grab a weapon. Like, I think this is the way to go. So doing a quick sim, the Crit Mastery weapon comes out ahead. So that is the one we're going to take on the monk. Significant upgrade. Let's see what that jumps our item level up to. 680. That is a 4 item level increase. Really happy with that. And we have an Arakara to start with on the monk as well. Nice, not bad at all. And next up, a couple characters that are not tanks. We actually worked on our Restoration Shaman. We did 4 delves on him. As you can see, we got some items from World Quests. And then we got our belt as well from doing the delves. So let's take a look at what we get on our Resto Shaman, which I'd like to do some healing on this season. All right, it's starting off with wrists at 694 item level and tier. Ah, man, we are doing really well getting tier on a lot of our characters. That's fantastic for the Chamois because I have 0 tier from last season on him. That brings us up an extra 3 item levels. Still very, very low, but it is an increase on the Chamois. And the final vault we're looking at is our Arcane Mage. Looks like they are wearing a diaper, which is kind of funny with this transmog, but 639. Let's take a look at what they have. They will have just the 4 delves done, so some hero track gear there. Two delves. I apologize, but hey, once again, it's not tier, but it is a hero track chest piece, which we are going to take and hopefully catalyze down the road for some tier. And just quickly showing you guys how our Paladin looks in terms of their vault. Now, you would think Tome is a good and exciting trinket, which it is, but it's only Champion Track. Meaning I feel like we'll eventually be able to replace this really quickly just by farming Priory. That is going to be the plan. We have Waist, useless. We have a great neck for speed, but the stats kind of suck. But this is where things get interesting. In our actual Delve Hero Track gear, we have a Hero Track tier headpiece, which is great because this is probably what we're going to end up taking depending on how raid goes on Wednesday. We're currently taking vaults until they hand out tier. We're trying to get as many people 2-piece, and then they'll focus on 4-piece. And then we also have a one-hander and another neck piece. Crit Verse isn't bad. Still not something I want to take. This has a pretty decent transmog. I really like the transmogs this season, all the ethereal stuff. But yeah, so this is what the Paladin has in their vault, and that really is it. I mean, what else is there to talk about? When this video is released, we've already jumped into the season. We're already pushing keys. We're getting that IO, and that is going to be the plan. I still have this week off, so I plan on doing a ton of keys on multiple characters. We're really going to push up the main, the Paladin, get him up to at least 2k, and then I want to focus on the Warrior as well, and then as many other tanks as I can do in between that time. Probably maybe even get a more delves on the Chamois, the Mage, keep them kind of going up so I can get some hero track gear, get them into some keys down the road. But I am excited to kick the season off. I'm excited for the Race to World first. I'll be watching that. So there's going to be a bunch of videos coming out as well. I record and post all of the boss kills, so our first kill will be posted throughout the weekend, including normal Dimensius. That'll be coming out first, and then we do our heroic bosses, so we kind of have the order from normal, heroic, all the way through mythic. So keep an eye on that. There'll be a playlist you guys check out. That is it for the video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're excited for Season 3, because I know I am. We're going to jump back into the Mythic Plus Arena. I'm going to get some more IO and some more gear so we can blast some more bosses. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out, everybody.